Hey gang, Scott here. ON1 has released Photo RAW 2024, and the marquee feature is Brilliance AI. And I want to talk about this feature in a variety of ways. And so this will be the first in a few videos about Brilliance AI. So by the end of this short series, you'll have a really good handle on what Brilliance AI is and how you can incorporate it into your workflow, so you can figure out that boundary between, where does the AI assist end and where does my style begin, and fine tune that for what makes sense for your photography and your post-processing style. Before I jump in, if you are thinking about adding ON1 Photo RAW 2024 or any of the other ON1 tools to your toolkit, please check the show notes. I have an offer code down there that will save you up to 20% on your purchase price. Doesn't cost you anything extra, gives me a little bit of support so I can do more videos like this. All right, so let's get into Brilliance AI. So first off, what is this thing? Just broad brushstrokes. Brilliance AI will take a lot of the initial grunt work out of doing your photo processing. You turn this tool on and it will examine the photo for classic things like color casts and tone and just adjusting some basics for your overall exposure. But then it can go further. It can identify regions, skies, people, animals, vehicles, foregrounds, water, those types of things, and automatically correct, adjust, and refine those areas, based on AI and machine learning. You can do the same with tapping into portraits. So if there's people that are prominent in the photo, it can do the portrait retouching for you right out of the chute, as well as noise reduction. You have a noisy photo, you can have Brilliance AI apply noise reduction. And the key thing is you can control how little or how much of what Brilliance AI does automatically in the preferences in ON1 Photo RAW. And that's where I want to start, with your control. So let's open up the preferences here. And there's a new area called Brilliance AI. This is where you tell Brilliance AI what to do. What do I want you to do? What do I not want you to do? What do you want it to do for white balance? Auto generally makes sense. And unless you really like how your raw photos as shot come out, auto usually makes the most sense. Do you want noise reduction to be applied? You can control based on ISO. I'll choose 1600 because I know if I go above 1600, I got noise. I need something to be done to it. I'm being a little conservative here. You could be more aggressive. What about portraits? If Brilliance AI examines the scene and finds a prominent face, do you want portrait retouching? I'll say yes. You can also customize general controls, like as you've used Brilliance AI, do you tend to find yourself reducing its power a little bit? Well, maybe you can just do that here. Do you find that, I don't like what it does in the midtones? You can raise, lower things. Same thing for temperature, vibrance, all those controls there. And lastly, this local adjustments. This is the part of Brilliance AI that finds those regions in your photo. This is where it finds people as a region, not as a portrait retouching, but I see people in the scene. I see animals. I see vehicles, rocks, natural ground, skies, those types of things. Leaving this selected, turning it off. It's on by default. I'm leaving it on because I want Brilliance AI to find those things and do those tonal corrections, those color corrections to those areas of the photo automatically. So once I've got all that dialed in, I'm going to click OK. So now I've told Brilliance AI what I want it to do and what I don't want it to do. And in my case, especially for this demonstration video, I've turned everything on. I'm probably going to keep it that way anyway. But what I want to do next is explain to you how Brilliance AI is going to use other features of Photo RAW to achieve this automatic AI-powered baseline editing for it. Again, the goal being that Brilliance AI can get you quickly to a stage of your photo where you're ready to add your signature style. And the best way for me to do this is just kind of like a little short animation here. So let me walk through this. So you open up a photo and you apply Brilliance AI. And then Brilliance AI is going to go look at your photo, examine it, think about it, and find a few things. And the first thing it'll do is it'll apply some basics in tone and color. It will do things with tone, with structure, with color to modify the photo based on its AI knowledge to get you a good baseline image. If you have local adjustments turned on, that's where those regions come in. If the Brilliance AI detects flora, sky, people, vehicles, a local adjustment with an appropriate mask for each one of those things gets added to the local stack and various adjustments applied to it. And these are generally tonal adjustments, trying to just make sure we've got a good tonal look on the entire photo, thinking about color casts and contrast and all sorts of things like that. That's all automatically done for you. If you turned on portrait, saying, yeah, I see prominent faces, well, Portrait AI, the portrait module, gets activated and there are things put in for each face that's found in the scene, as well as noise. If you said turn on the noise reduction, if I'm over a certain ISO, well, Brilliance AI can read the metadata of your photo and say, oh, well, this is a high ISO shot. I'm going to go apply some noise and noise reduction, and all of that just happens within the Brilliance AI pane. This is the only place I'm having to tick something on, and all of these other things get created for you as a result. So when you come back into Photo RAW, you've ticked that and you watch the progress bar for a second or two. All of these things are added to your editing panels. And now you know where those things are, so you can go and tweak and change them if you need to. What I want to do next is just go through a few examples so you can see how Brilliance AI creates these other things in different sections of Photo RAW. So I'm a landscape guy. Let's start with a landscape photo. All right, we'll use this photo here as our landscape photo. And we're in edit now, so let's open up Brilliance AI, turn that on, and we can see some things happened pretty darn quickly here. Let's open up and see. We got Brilliance AI. It applied some amount of stuff and it found some regions. So, the first thing was going through tone and color, and if we open up tone and color, we can see, things have changed. The sliders have been modified, a little bit of structure, some color change, and those different regions were identified: the flora, the sky, the water. Brilliance AI created masks and local adjustments for each one of those, and each one individually got applied, some amount of opacity, some amount of changes here, based on the tonality of the photo to try to bring things into, a pretty good overall baseline. Now, this photo did not have high ISO. We're at ISO 50, so no noise reduction was happening. There's no people. But you can see how clicking Brilliance AI, just turning that on, kind of level set the photo, created several different masks for different regions, and now the foundation is laid for me to either jump right into my own style, or if I find that I'd like to make a little bit of a tweak here and there to some of the regions, I have those controls. And I'll have some other videos that will get into how to control Brilliance AI from the Brilliance AI panel, as well as when do you want to go outside of that. Let's look at another example. Let's look at a high noise photo. All right, here's an image. Look at the information, and it was shot at ISO 6400. And we get in there, and sure enough, there is quite a bit of noise out there. So when we turn on Brilliance AI, it will do what it normally does: look at tone and color. It notices that the ISO is high. It's above that threshold that I set in preferences. It will also apply the noise reduction, the no noise AI feature. And so once again, we see, an amount was created. It did find a range for people. There are people in the photo, as well as applying noise reduction. You can see that this adjust is locked because these settings were turned on. And sure enough, when I zoom back in here, we can see that the noise is gone. It's very much just gone. What about portrait? Nothing here. These faces are not prominent enough for the Brilliance AI to consider those faces and add them. The people region was a local adjustment to do what here? It looks like reduce a little contrast, maybe raise the midtones, so make those people slightly more prominent. It's a subtle touch. And Subtle, for me, subtle is good. I like that this AI is not over the top aggressive, because then I'd be constantly going in and dialing things back to the point where it wouldn't be particularly useful. But this is another example where the no noise integration with Brilliance AI just works. Reads the metadata based on the controls that you set, important point, and applies the noise reduction. All right, one more example. Let's do one that does have a prominent face. Let's do a portrait. All right, have a portrait loaded. Let's turn on Brilliance AI. We see a bit of a progress bar there as it's thinking, analyzing the photo. When it finds things such as a person, it will take a little bit extra time because it's going to be doing that portrait level work. You can see things have gotten brightened up. His skin tones are warmer. Everything's looking good. There's a couple of regions here. Flora is interesting. That's probably some of these, graffiti flowers that are out there. But it found those regions, created those local adjustments. And yeah, sure enough, Flora is just somewhat of an artifact of the background he's on. But also in portrait, it found his face and applied some basic adjustments here. And those portrait adjustments, again, controllable by you. In the preferences, there is a setting. How aggressive do you want Portrait AI to be by default? Subtle or more pronounced when it comes to the retouching. And the default is kind of subtle, which is usually what I like. I don't want someone to look unnatural. I just want them to look like, it's them, but on a really, really good day. But you can see how Brilliance AI is taking these components we've had in Photo RAW for a while, bringing them all together, and putting that level of control at a click of a button. Get that foundation laid for yourself, so then you can start working on everything else. I guess the key takeaway that I want you to have from this video is understanding how Brilliance AI taps into other areas of Photo RAW. You control which areas it's going to tap into or not. You can control it overall by never turning on Brilliance AI if it's just not for you. But also that Brilliance AI is not necessarily the end of your processing. It's to get your foundation set, and you still have the opportunity and probably desire to go into effects and add your own signature style with the different effects filters. So other videos in this series will kind of do some other workflows through it. This is the overview of Brilliance AI. I hope you found it useful and helpful. Got questions? Go ahead and drop them below. And until next time, my name's Scott Davenport. Have fun.